All right. Let's see. There we go. Good evening, Chatterboxes. It is a Thursday today, which that's a new one for me. Never streamed on a Thursday, so this is a new experience, I will say. I've been doing well. I hope everyone who watches the stream, if either as a VOD watcher or, you know, just if you're live, if you happen to join, I hope you're doing well. Today will be the very first day. Let me make sure the music's looped. Perfect. This will be the very first day we're starting our new tradition, our new stream format of analog horror watch parties. Basically, how the gist of it's gonna work. I'm just explaining this for the VOD watchers, if any. We will be watching analog horrors, whether I've watched it ever or not. We will be watching them together, a different one every so often, and we'll be dissecting it and analyzing it, what we like and what we don't like about the series. And I thought it would be fitting to start with my personal favorite, Vita Carnis. This is my favorite analog horror series. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I just really enjoy the series. Sorry, I got distracted for a minute. But yeah, having a ball today. I'm just very excited to do this. I accidentally pushed it back like twice on accident, which I meant to stream it like last week, but stuff came up, so pushed it back to this week. Very excited to check it out. Well, I have watched it, but very excited to watch it again. because it is a very good series. Let me see, music's still up. All right, awesome. All right, now, let me pull the series up real fast on my YouTube real fast. Let me see. Vita, Carnis. Alright. And I believe the creator has it in order on his channel. Awesome. Sorry, I just need to pull this up. Okay, awesome. Alright. Well, there's no need to wait. So we might as well get started now, shall we? Let me just pause the Dead Rising music real fast. Let's see here. It's been a while since I've done this real fast, so main stream setup. Oh, I did forget one thing. I'm silly. Put the music back on. I forgot to do my chat for stream. Deeply apologize for that. Always want to keep chat on, whether people are watching or not. So let me set that up for y'all real fast. Promise to be fast. Hello, Ethan Hans. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. We're going to be watching Vita Carnis today. Do you remember me? I actually do remember you, yes. I've had quite a bit of regulars come in, so do kind of lose track sometimes on who's who, but I do remember your name, so it's good to see you, mate. Let's see, chat up. Should be up. Perfect. Now, someone just sent me something really funny. Okay, now we can get started. Now, let me load this. Oh, 1 second. Oh, I just hit like a massive lag spike. All right, let me window capture. Hold on. Page. That's odd. It's not showing up. One moment. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay. This should be it. All right, awesome. Now I will full screen, and then we can get this boat rolling. So, for Vita Carnis, yeah, this is working. Okay, awesome. We have our very first video from Vita Carnis. It's a collection of multiple videos. I'm just watching the full version because the creator, Darian, decided to put all of them into one thing. So, oh, that's what that does. So I can't change emotes. So we have about 7 videos compiled, and it's merged into one. So I'll count this as the very first episode of Vita Carnis, Living Meat Research documentary. It's about 30 minutes, so it shouldn't be too bad on y'all. This, I'll talk about it more in detail, but this is one of the best openings to an analog horror I've seen. And this is really what got me into the series, so we'll see how it goes. Chat, do let me know if volume balancing is a problem, so I can fix it.
On planet Earth, life has thrived for millions of years. Creatures big and small have found ways to adapt and evolve to flourish in all types of environments. From barren wastes to lush forests, life can be found. Earth has homed these creatures since the dawn of life itself. Only until very recently, things have changed. New life forms have appeared all around the globe and completely changing the balance of nature and what we know about evolution itself. That is why we, at National Living Meat Research, have been studying these new species, trying to help educate everyone about these creatures and their wondrous ways of life. First, what are these new life forms? Since their explosive arrival across the globe in 1931, there has been much debate on what these newcomers are and where they came from. Are they extraterrestrials coming to invade Earth? Or are they demons who come from hell to purge humanity? From
An excellent question.
Scientists have discovered, no. The origins of these creatures are
off topic. I know this isn't supposed to be funny. I just love, like, two options. The answer, no.
Earth? Or are they demons who come from hell to purge humanity? From what our scientists have discovered,
no.
The origins of these creatures are solely to Earth, miraculously out of nowhere. We don't know why or how, but one thing is for certain, Earth is now their home. What these creatures are is mysterious and still not well known today. But here is what we do know. These creatures are comprised mainly of muscle tissue, organs, and bones. They greatly resemble animals with no skin, or store-bought meat. Because of these
that is a common occurrence in biology chat.
Characteristics, they have been named accordingly as Vita Carnis.
That's the name of the
Carnis
series.
Species consume decaying, organic matter, but their main diet is composed of raw meat, not including their Carnis relatives. The Carnis only appear in places where there is an abundance of crawl, which leads to the first creature of the Carnis species, the crawl. The crawl is a growth of meaty tendrils that...
Alright, so we have our first creature chat. Our first creature in this creature feature. We have the crawl. Now, the crawl is very interesting, so I'll let it play out before I start rambling about why this series is peak fiction or whatever.
That closely resemble the small intestine, the only difference being the dark red coloration. These tendrils grow in a similar pattern as vines, mold, or fungi. A primary stem structure is the host to divisions of other, smaller branches. In each tendril contains a variety of veins, arteries, and other similar organs used to transport nutrients absorbed from its surroundings. The ends of these tendrils are equipped with organelles used to absorb water and organic matter necessary for growth. The source of these organic materials is mainly found in dirt and soil on surrounding surfaces. Using its root-like tendrils, it absorbs the material and processes it into usable energy. Although, the crawl also obtains energy through another means. Using a sophisticated form of photosynthesis, the dark pigmentation of the smaller branches is ideal for absorbing sunlight, and therefore allowing solar energy to fuel the crawl's growth. Because of its efficiency, it thrives in almost all types of environments, easily allowing it to spread across the world, and can be found pretty much anywhere. Its recent inclusion in the ecosystem has caused many major changes in nature's balance. One may assume that the crawl's presence may outcompete any other competitors, but due to its unique life cycle, where old branches fall off and decay into nutrient-rich compost, all forms of life seemingly flourish instead.
Yeah, that's normal.
The crawl's abundance grants plenty of nourishment to all animals, from plants feeding on the decayed crawl, herbivores thriving on increased plant population, and carnivores feeding on both the abundant prey, and are able to eat the crawl as well.
Man, the crawl is great. We should have crawl in real life, honestly.
Broken down and consumed by the crawl, and the cycle begins again. This form of symbiosis leads to an environment where all populations thrive. Humanity also uses the crawl to our advantage. Because of the supernatural rate of growth and its richness in nutrients. Because of the supernatural
was there anything in that?
rate of
It's been a while. Yes, there was. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Alright, here's our first encrypted message, chat. Radio tower overgrown with crawl. So, pretty much, yeah. We can't make out the rest. But we can see that maybe it's not all beneficial.
And its richness in nutrients, it has been sustainably cultivated into domestic farms. The crawl is harvested and processed into fertilizer, which greatly increases crop yield and quality. The crawl may also be used as a food source for humans, and reliably so. But due to its unkindly appearance and taste, it has yet to reach cuisine standards.
Mm-hmm.
The crawl also plays a very important role in the
Ooh,
next
here we go.
creatures that we have been studying. Sometimes, in a crawl-populated environment, a node of meat may develop on one of the branches. This node will fall off and grow into a functioning organism, and go to live on as an independent animal. This leads us to the upcoming species that we will be discussing. The first of these creatures...
Alright, I'll pause here. So, what this series does well, I've heard this from a lot of people, but I share the same opinion, is its world building is something I haven't seen before in analog horror. What I mean by that is already from the first section, you know the usual trope of having an analog horror of the caution tape or the informational tape that has spooky stuff, right? That's a big trope nowadays in almost all analog horror. This immediately sets itself different in a very key way, and that the information it provides actually is beneficial and makes the world seem a little bit more fleshed out. Like, for instance, we're gonna go back to this point in the video, but like throughout this, just the explanation of the crawl routes, right, that we just experienced, that we listened to, they the creator brilliantly explained like the most minute details about it as if it is a real documentary, and gave us more insight not only about what it poses to the universe, but also just how it functions. And just that, like, that attention to detail is what really draws me to this series compared to other analog horror, is it really takes its time in making sure that it has like likable details about it, and like that it really gives you information that not only will be contributing to like theories and like how like what we need to know as like a viewer, but also just that unnecessary info of really building up the world and building up the creatures so we have a better understanding of how they work. And of course, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these things to go. 7 creatures that spawn from this one, and it's going to go across the, as you can see with the bookmarks, across the laundry list of them and explain them as best as they can. And I really enjoy that about this series, is just its commitment to being able to, you know, explain a lot of stuff in universe and gives us like more insight. It's very cool.
The trimming.
I can't even pause. Okay, let's. All right.
The first of these creatures are the trimmings.
Okay, we have another. Okay, we can't read that. Oof. Please tell me there's one. Nope. Okay, I'm just gonna have to try. I'll try to do my best. I've read these uncorrupted, but I'm too lazy to pull that up currently. Oh, I can't read it. Once upon a time, there was a distant kingdom. The kingdom was something. Yeah. Okay. I can't actually read that. I know what it said. I know the gist of it pretty much. So pretty much, there's just a distant kingdom with a prince, a king, and a mother. You know, you can tell that from the information. So just keep that in mind, chat. This is important later.
The trimmings.
Now let's talk about the trimmings.
Trimmings are small animals that resemble skinned raccoons. They are commonly known to have a plump body, round head, small eyes, nose and ear holes, and an agape mouth. They are also equipped with a diversity of limbs. All individual trimmings are unique, each with a different body shape, number of limbs, and other characteristics. One thing they all share in common is that they are made mostly of meat tissue and are a maximum of 20 centimeters in length.
Interesting.
No larger than a basketball.
Look how small.
Its life starts with its separation from the crawl. It will wonder to find anything that is edible and able to consume. Although it is an omnivore, being able to hunt meat and forage for plant matter, trimmings are almost entirely scavengers. Their diet consists of rotting plants and meat, including, but not limited to, fruits, vegetables, roots, seeds, insects, and deceased animals. Although its appearance is unsightly.
That's the picture from the thumbnail. I just really enjoy this piece of art. I also really like the art in this series, because I like how it at least attempts to look realistic. Obviously, you can tell it's not a real image, but I just enjoy it. I think it's a nice touch.
It is a cowardly creature, only fleeing, screeching, and hiding when threatened. Because of its lack of defensive traits, it lies near the bottom of the food chain, making it easily overpowered and picked off very regularly by predators. Naturally, its population would eventually die out. This is not the case.
The spooky.
Naturally, its population would eventually die out.
All right. Seems we have another newspaper clipping. Mass trimming infestation. Estimated 40 plus trimmings gathered under a large abandoned satellite dish. The reasons are unknown, if I were to guess, to why this is the case. Yeah. The reasons are unknown at this time or something. You get this. So, it's very interesting. You can also notice satellite dish. If you remember correctly, in the crawl section, there was a little blurb about. I'm not going to go back to it because that's going to be a hassle to find. But there was a blurb about how they were taking over radio towers, the crawl. So just keep that in mind. So we have the crawl taking over the radio towers and the trimmings infesting under satellite dishes.
Is not the case. The crawl constantly produces a large quantity of trimming nodes, keeping up their numbers. Naturally, trimmings can be found wherever there is abundant crawl.
So pretty much everywhere.
At a decent pace, reaching maturity at around 7 months, having a maximum lifespan of 2 to 4 years.
So like a rat. It's a rat lifespan.
Plentiful, humanity has no proper way to implement trimmings into society. Their overabundance has even considered.
I love these drawings so much. Like we have this one. This one's just like very creepy. Like in like the back of it, it looks like found footage, and I really enjoy that. I just really enjoy these illustrations done.
Them pests. Due to them digging through trash bins and
Look at
making
him.
excessive noise at night.
How would you not want him? I'd want him to eat my trash.
Besides all of this, some people still keep them as pets and relatively domesticate them. Nuisance
I'd have
or not,
one.
Trimmings are a wondrous creature. From their plentiful numbers to their skittish nature, they are truly a thing to behold. The next species on our list is the meat snake.
The meat snake.
Species on our
Spooky.
list is
All right.
the meat
Time
snake.
to find the other thing. Okay. During the travels of one of the something, a great storm struck. It was so powerful, it swayed the boat of the royal family and pushed the prince out into the sea. Now, as you'll remember, the prince from the first page that we saw in these little between chapter snippets, or in the case of the actual videos, between episodes, you'll see they were traveling, so I suppose. So he must have fell out. So yeah, pretty much each one of these in-between chapters will pretty much continue the storybook. That's like an underlying thing that's happening currently. So just keep it in mind.
The meat snake.
Now the meat snake.
The meat
This thing is
snake
horrifying.
Is a worm-like creature made of a variety of types of meat, coated in a transparent, skin-like membrane. Its size varies during its lifespan, depending on how much it consumes. When it first separates from the crawl, it is only a
What
few
a small little
centimeters
guy.
in length. Eventually, it will reach an average length of 5 meters. Although,
That is
under extreme
huge.
conditions, like natural disasters, war, or plague, it can greatly surpass.
Largest meat snake ever discovered. During a sweep of underground settlements, mandating the war, I'm assuming in reference to World War II, a massive-sized meat snake was discovered stuck inside an underground railway. The beast was measured at a total of 40 meters in length, which, mind you, that surpasses the actual meat snake length, like a usual one, by like 3 times. It is believed that bodies gathered during the war were fed to the creature, causing it to reach an unbelievable size. And then, of course, cult activity. Of course, it always circles back to cult activity. That's the real lesson, chat. It always goes back to cult activity.
Please surpass this length. The meat snake's diet consists entirely of dead animals or parts. A meat snake is incapable of consuming a healthy, living organism. The meat snake allocates its food by using a tongue-like organ covered in sensors to touch and feel its environment. The sensors catch particles of decaying meat, notifying the meat snake that there is food nearby. This process shares many similarities to regular snakes, hence the meat snake's name.
And it just happens to also look like a snake. That's a big factor as well.
It locates the corpse. The meat snake will open its jaw and swallow the entire body whole. Once the entire body is consumed, the meat snake's stomach will release a variety of chemicals. Some will break down soft tissue like skin and the connection points between muscles. Others chemicals will then ferment and preserve the tissue to keep it from breaking down for as long as possible. After that, the remaining flesh and bones will move along the meat snake's tract and slowly be implemented into its own structure, extending the meat snake.
I love the widening.
Slowly be implemented
the
into its
editing
own
of just it
structure,
widening.
extending the meat snake. Unsatisfactory parts like skulls, pelvises, hair, and fingernails will be excreted.
Good.
Speaking of skulls, the meat snake will take the skull from the consumed organism and use it as its own. Each meat snake has its own skull.
I really love this detail. I think it's really cool how you can tell what it's been eating based on the shape of its head and like what skull it has inside of its body. I think that is just such a unnecessary but really cool detail about this like bioorganism. And it will say, in cases, it will make it look 10 times more threatening.
Each corresponding to what that one has consumed. During its lifespan, it will swap or replace these skulls if needed. A meat snake's lifespan depends entirely on how much a meat snake consumes. The longest one has lived for was 28 years. The meat snake has no predators and is immune to disease due to its preserving chemicals. The only significant ways a meat snake can die is through starvation, burning, or complete destruction of the meat snake's membrane coating. Interestingly, the meat snake is the only member of the Carnis family that is able to reproduce. When a meat snake...
Which, by the way, again, bringing up the illustrations, that is a horrifying image. That, I do not want that near me, which is exactly how I should feel.
...is the only member of the Carnis family that is able to reproduce. When a meat snake reaches an excessive size, and is in the conditions to do so, it will commence mitosis, splitting itself
Splendid.
in two. Then the now two meat snakes will go on their separate ways and live on as two distinct organisms. Meat snakes can only be found in moderate temperature climates, not too hot, not too cold.
Interesting.
Their population depends entirely on the amount of corpses available. Where there is...
I also do really like how about these illustrations, how they're real life pictures, but then he just draws them in to make them fit with the environment. It definitely adds to the realism.
Death. There are meat snakes. Humanity will use them to our advantage. Meat snakes are a very efficient and clean way of disposing of any meat products. The preserving fluid within the meat snake's body disinfects the carrion, preventing the spread of disease. Humans use meat snakes in butcher shops as a waste bin, dispose roadkill, within war on the battlefield to dispose of festering bodies and parts, and within zoos to dispose of deceased animals. They are extremely tame, not caring if any creature is around them.
Extremely tame, chat. That just screams extremely tame.
Only acting defensively when it is within consuming a meal. This means they are very easy to tame. Overall,
Ooh,
meat
that is
snakes
such
are
a cool
marvelous
drawing.
creature with a very interesting way of sustaining itself. It is an amazing
Look at that little
experience
guy.
to encounter one, as long as you don't mind the smell. Our next creature is the mimic.
Oh. Alright, as you can tell, this one's going to be packed. I mean, look how long that chapter is on the video. This is definitely the main, pardon my pun, meat of the video. This one's definitely a big one. Oh. Okay, I gotta back up now. Oh, hey, readable. That's nice. After being stranded at sea, the young prince eventually was cast to an island. Injured, the prince stumbled his way into a nearby cave. The prince used what magic he could to put himself into a healing sleep. The story continues. He is currently resting now. Keep that in mind.
The mimic.
Actual horrifying.
The mimic is a bipedal creature with uncanny similarities to humanoid anatomy. They greatly resemble humans without skin, with added exaggerated features. These features include extended finger length, longer limbs, bulging, empty eyes, and their most prominent feature, a wide, teeth-filled smile. Although it resembles a happy face, this is due to coincidence. It is only how their facial structure is shaped.
Merely a coincidence. I also do want to point out, while I have praised this for kind of breaking a lot of trends, at least with this first video, this is probably one of the closest instances it gets to being, I guess, tropey, is the meat mimic. Because, you know, this looks very Skinwalker-esque, and you'll see more similarities between the two as we continue. This is probably one of the more basic things in the series, but then again, the way they spin it is very interesting.
The maw of the mimic contains much more teeth than humans, and their teeth is comprised almost entirely of incisors, with some canine and premolars in the back. This tooth composition is ideal for biting down onto meat and swallowing chunks whole. A mature mimic's diet is comprised entirely of human flesh.
Yeah, so big twist. It eats people. Who would have suspected that this friendly fellow eats people? Mind you, there's also a plushie of him. Yeah, so it's not even a cannibal. It's just, it literally eats people. I also just like the paws.
Because of this, they are found solely around human-populated areas. The mimic's life cycle is made of 3 stages. In the first stage, a young mimic separates from the crawl. They closely resemble their trimming relatives, but are thin, sleek, and only have 4 appendages.
Oof, that is a scary thing.
The young mimic will hunt small animals, moving on to larger and larger as they grow. Once large enough, it will begin metamorphosis into the next stage of life.
The mimic.
Once fully transformed, it will resemble the description mentioned in the beginning. Its
There we
hunting
go.
style changes and becomes much...
that is terrifying. I hate that. Yeah, the drawings of him are very unsettling.
more complicated. It now stalks and feeds only on humans. It will locate human population.
What was that?
It now stalks and feeds only on humans.
Oh, it's just an editing error. Okay.
It will locate human populated area and begin its search for an easy target. To blend in, it may use objects to conceal itself. These include clothing, mannequins, and furniture.
Interesting.
Once a target has been found, the mimic will observe its prey and learn
He's
its
approaching.
routine and when it is most vulnerable. This is typically when the human is asleep at night. Once the prey is within position, the mimic will advance silently until it is close enough. The mimic will then execute and immediately begin consumption.
And dead.
Once the mimic has had its fill, it will leave the scene, a fair distance away from the human population, and begin to digest its meal. Although, in the case that a human digests
I also do really like just how horrifying the implication is of in universe being able to find this thing just standing completely still, and it just killed someone a night earlier. Oof.
Although, in the case that a human is awake, a mimic will use a variety of sounds to either lure or startle prey into cornering.
Every time. Never fails. I will always fall for the door knock. Oof. Yeah, that I thought about it again. All 3 times I've watched this series, like I've always fallen for the door knock.
Themselves.
Every single time.
Once a human is in place, it will swiftly attack and kill the helpless target.
Ho ho. I'm just gonna let this play out, chat, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Oh, he coming. Oh, he's approaching. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. Alright, let's go back on that real fast. Sorry for pausing so much, chat. I'm here to analyze, and that is what I'm doing. So, this is our first real footage. Let me get this guy on camera. Let me find a frame. I just want to get both the head in. All right. So we have the fingers. Now, one thing you'll notice about everything from this point on, chat, including this, is that all of it is practical effects. Whenever there's no CGI, there's no modeling, there's no animation. I think nearly everything you see in the show for a long while is just practical effects. So all the monsters that you'll see in real life that aren't like illustrated versions, like we've seen in the past, are going to be practical. Most analog horror usually goes the modeling method, like where they'll model and animate scenes that are supposed to take place in real life. One example I can think of off the top of my head is Mandela Catalogs have done this in their third episode, or like their third main episode, I should say. But Vita Carnis took the route of doing practical effects, which I really enjoy because they're really well made practical effects. Like the puppet here used for the mimic, obviously you could tell it's not real, but boy, does it look scary. I just really enjoy how it's crafted. It really just elevates the experience for me. Just seeing practical effects instead of CGI. Like, look at that. That is a creepy fellow right there. Oof. That is perfect. Yeah, really enjoy the puppets in this series. And yeah, just absolutely 10 out of 10. Really enjoy. I'm going on mute. Well, let's continue.
The next stage of the mimic's life cycle has 2 potential morphs it may develop into.
This is also a really cool detail.
If a mimic has a consistent supply of food, it will develop more human-like features. It will grow skin, hair, and by the end will look nearly identical to a human being. It now can blend entirely into civilization and lure other humans more effectively. The second type of morph happens when a mimic receives an overabundance of food. It will grow into a larger, more evolved hunter. Its proportions will increase in length, and its humanoid features will fade away. It grows a thick, dark coating of a flexible skin, which is highly durable, and increases in strength the more the elder mimic consumes. This excludes the face, which is now coated in a pale pink skin. The mimic's teeth have also moved deeper into the mimic's throat, leaving its mouth a toothless grin. It uses the dark hue of its skin to hide seamlessly within a dark environment. Its skills have also been heightened. This makes an elder mimic one of the most efficient predators on the planet. Because of the obvious threat this poses on...
Okay, I want to talk about this. There's obviously a lot of detail given in this series. I'm going to continue, sorry for pausing again, chat, in the mimic section, the longest section in the video. But I just love, like, how it pretty much, the mimic, how it works, its pathway, is the stealth or the offensive, like, style of quote-unquote gameplay in this metaphor. Because one of which decides to, like, because the mimic is obviously a good attacking predator regularly, right? But it also has good stealth tendency because of how humanoid it looks. So it can either choose to embrace the humanoidism of itself to try to blend even further and make itself look more apparently human at a glance to be able to effectively kill things easier, or specifically humans. Or it could take the other route where it's very clear it's a mimic, but boy, good luck taking that down. Like, just the complete offensive enemy. It's just such a cool idea for, like, a creepy monster. Like, where it can take two different types of approaches to killing its prey.
Humanity. Nations around the world have released instructions on how to be able to fend for yourself in a mimic encounter. Here are the instructions.
1. Avoid going out alone if your location is known to have mimics, or there have been mimic sightings. 2. If you encounter a stationary mimic, seemingly unfazed by your presence, quietly leave the location and alert your local authorities. 3. If pursued by a mimic, get yourself into a position where you are able to flee. Mimics will rarely attack if a person has a clear escape route. 4. In the event that you have been cornered by a mimic, roll into the fetal position, protecting your neck, face, and vital organs from attack. Make as much noise as you can to alert any other people. 5. If you have a weapon, do not use it. A mimic is fairly resilient, and any strikes or shots on a mimic is not effective enough to bring it down in time. Instead, use it as a barrier between you and the mimic to block any attacks. 6. In a situation where a mimic is hunting in the immediate area, and is not aware of your position, hide somewhere low, like under a bed or behind other furniture. A mimic will not linger too long to search for prey, and will move on.
Be safe, and avoid any encounters with a mimic at all costs.
I want you to remember this, chat. This is going to come up later. But remember this, chat, for people watching VOD or the one person watching now. Keep in mind all of the things they listed to do whenever encountering a mimic, because it will come up later.
Next up, the Harvester.
Oh, right. Keep forgetting. Okay. Alright. Something the prince's sleep was long. He slept for what seemed like forever. As he slept, the land around him changed and grew. He was unrecognizable from when the prince first arrived. But the sleep still needed time to heal the prince. Much more time, but it kept the prince safe while he rested, guarding him from the elements as the land changed. So, pretty much, he went into full-on hibernation, and the world changed around him. Keep that in mind.
The Harvester.
Now our next one.
The Harvester is a large, bulbous mass, with a large amount of tendrils spreading from the base. The bulb measures around 3 meters in height and 2 meters in diameter. The tendrils, on the other hand, can extend up to 150 meters in diameter horizontally. The Harvester is a specialized form of crawl that grows in a unique and deadly way. A harvester is created when a node, that will grow into a harvester, instead of separating, continues to grow. Eventually, it will grow tendrils of its own. It uses the energy provided by its mother branch and expands its reach further. Its tendrils, hidden just below the surface of the ground. The harvester is equipped with 2 types of specialized tendrils. The first type is bulky and flat. They lie the closest to the surface. These branches are lined on each length of the tendril with spines, extending in the shape of a bear trap. On each side of the branch, those particular spines have a vein that feed into them, that pump two types of venom. On one side, the spines can inject a neurotoxin, which will attack the nervous system of whomever it is injected into, causing sudden paralysis. The other side can inject an anticoagulant, which when injected, prevents blood cells from clotting. Whenever a large animal moves across the area armed with these tendrils, the branches will clamp onto the animal and thrash violently. Once the prey has been injected with both venoms, the tendrils will rest and the prey will immediately collapse. The animal will be unable to move due to the paralysis, and the wounds caused by the thrashing spines will not stop bleeding. All the prey can do is lie patiently, until succumbing to blood loss. Once the prey has bled out,
brutal.
The second type of tendrils come in. They lie below the spine equipped once. These branches are thick, but very sturdy. They share similar anatomy to the small branches of the crawl, equipped with organelle that absorbs nutrients. These tendrils sense the blood, and move their way to the surface and begin to absorb the vital fluid. Once the blood has been consumed, the tendrils will wrap around the body and begin to shuffle downwards. This movement loosens the soil and slowly pull the body underground. Once secure, the tendrils will continue to feed until there is nothing but scraps. The nourishment absorbed by the tendrils will be sucked back into the main bulb of the harvester.
What a horribly painful way. Oh my goodness. Of course I paused on this one. What a horrible way to die, might I add. That is actually just suffering. I feel bad for anyone who has to, in the universe, who has to deal with that.
Bulb houses all the vital organs and the venom glands that pump into the spines. The nutrients are then converted into usable energy. The remains underground decompose, providing a rich soil, causing very prominent plant growth, which then attracts more animals.
It is an actual endless cycle of food for it. It gets more nutrients from the things it kills, which attracts more food, which then it kills, which it gives more nutrients, which attracts more food. It's endless.
Plant growth, which then attracts
solving
more
world
animals.
hunger. But for itself.
A strange behavior the harvester displays as its choice of diet. The spines will only activate on larger animals, allowing smaller ones to pass by unaffected. The spines will also not activate on some species of bird. There are a couple theories as to why this happens. One, it could be that attacking smaller animals would cost too much energy for what they get in return, making it not worth the time. Another could be that smaller animals may attract larger animals or predators, allowing a safe place where prey may thrive and lure more predators. It truly is astonishing. Although it is a spectacular creature, it is also very dangerous. The harvester is decently rare, only populating sparse areas in the northern hemisphere and woodland forests. If you are stung by a harvester, there will be no way of helping you, being that there is no cure, and fatality is 100% positive.
Ooh, lore.
Cure, and fatality is 100% positive.
Ooh. Family attacked by harvester while hiking. Something it's too blurry to read. Well, it's crossed out. Authorities refuse to handle the harvester, only putting up warnings. Used to handle the harvester, only putting up warning signs and addressing the public to be more careful. Man, yeah. So, a family pretty much passed away due to a harvester, and they don't want to interfere too much and would just prefer to give a warning. Leave it at that.
The best thing you can do is avoid encountering a harvester in the first place. If you are hiking, take note of any warnings or signs saying that there are harvesters around.
Cool thing is, actually, about this sign, someone actually made it in real life. There's a sign maker who saw Vita Carnis and decided to make this sign in real life. It's actually very cool.
If you also notice an abundance of lush, ground-dwelling plants in a forested area, and there are no signs of wildlife. This is suspicious and you should leave the area, staying close to the base of large trees or rocks. If you find yourself in the middle of a harvester ground, do not panic. Sudden movements may activate
I shall not
potentials
panic.
and will inject you. Although a harvester is rather forgiving, do not risk any skittish movements. Remain calm. If you have any objects with considerable heft, like coats, backpacks, or full water bottles, gently take that object and lightly toss it towards the bulb, and away from your escape route. This will activate the spines on where the object lands, distracting the bulb for a moment. You will then slowly begin to do wide shuffles away from the bulb. If possible, throw another object when you are certain you are a fair enough distance away, just to be safe. Continue until you are completely sure you are out of harm's way. You may come out unscathed, but don't be too obnoxious, or you will be a harvester's next meal.
Oof.
Next up is the host.
Oh, first of all, the host, that's a different can of worms. But we have another thing to read. And it's hard to read because they don't like me. I will say one complaint about this is that sometimes they do bit crush it. That's not the right word, but they do crush it a little bit in quality. So sometimes it is a little hard to read. Something during a time of hardship led the island critters. The critters were struggling on hard times, I believe is what that says. There was barely any food to go around. They would go and gather whatever they could to survive, or something similar. So, introducing in the storybook this species who is having a hard time, has had hard times befall upon them, and cannot properly gather the food it needs or the nutrients it needs.
The host of influence.
Oh, the host of influence.
The host of influence, more commonly referred to as the host, has its name derived from a host who invites guests to an event.
Thank
Not to be
you,
confused
documentary.
with the host, a harborer of parasites or disease. The host is a semi-humanoid looking organism.
That
It
is
has
not
the structure of a
actually,
head,
yeah, technically right.
torso, and arms. Other than this, it shares no other characteristics. The lower half of the host is comprised of a mass of fibrous tissue and tendrils that burrow into the ground to hold the host in place. Instead of skin, the host is covered in muscular tissue fibers, tendons, and veins. In some parts of the body are covered in a meaty plate, used to cover any large exposed areas, but allowing movement. The host's head has a smooth surface where the face should be, attached to a crooked neck, which houses a slit in the front used for feeding. On the host's back is a mound of pores. Protruding from these pores are hollow, hair-like structures, extending outwards. These hairs are barrels that release spores produced within host's body by being fired into the air. These spores are hazardous, so keep clear of them at all costs.
Ooh.
Luckily,
What was that? I don't remember that. I was chilling because I didn't remember that. Okay, hold on. Alright, so here we have two silhouettes of some sort with red squares behind them. Take that as you will.
luckily, the host is rare, only found in North America. Obtaining info about the host is a very risky and daunting task. This is because of their rarity and of how dangerous it is to be up close to one. The spores released by a host is very dangerous when inhaled. A host will release a cloud of spores into the air, which will be picked up by wind and carried great distances. If an organism inhales the spores, the particles will find their way into the organism's brain and infect them. An infected organism will show no symptoms of infection right away, but a couple hours after infection the infected organism's behavior and thought process will change. The first symptoms that appear are restlessness, sluggish movement, numbness of joints, and lack of coordination. Then more serious symptoms appear over time. These include dizziness, migraines, impaired speech, and trembles. If you, or someone you know show these symptoms, contact poison control or emergency services. After a total of 6 to 7 hours after infection, the organism will cease all activities they were previously doing and begin to walk. The direction the infected will walk is towards the host whose spores have been inhaled by the infected individual.
This is brutal. We'll get to this afterwards.
If the infected makes their way to the host, they will kneel down in front of it, expose their vital organs, and the host will promptly gut and remove those organs. The host will consume them and discard the leftover scraps. However, if an infected organism doesn't reach the host within a 36-hour span or is treated for their infection, the effects will wear off and return back to normal. If a host is unable to find prey or doesn't like its current location, it will unroot itself and move to a new location. Their scarce numbers and the hazard of being around one makes getting info about the host very daunting. All you need to currently know is that the host is extremely dangerous and should be avoided at all costs.
Yeah, so there's that. Very joyous. This is what I like so much about this series, is that it has things that are, like, so fascinating, like, creatures that are so fascinating, but, like, in prospect and thinking about them is just very scary. Like, the harvester, the meat mimic, the host, even the meat snake, like, just the prospect of them, even, like, thinking about them being able to exist, even in, like, a fictional world, is just, oh, it's so unsettling. That's what I really like about the series.
The monoliths.
Oh, okay. There it is. Thank Lord, this one's actually clear. Okay. This is page 6. Although one day the critters found the cave while searching for food. They found the prince in a trance in his healing sleep. So the prince from earlier. The critters were so awestruck and enchanted by the prince's magic. So they have found the prince.
The monoliths.
Oh, the monoliths.
The monolith is a very new creature, only showing up in June of 1972, in the area of... There are only 7
I'm sure that's
monoliths,
normal.
all of them located in a circular position, 1.5 kilometers in diameter. This ring of monoliths surrounds...
Oof. This get a little loud.
The monolith is a Titanic-sized being, measuring roughly 120 meters in height. Each monolith has 2 strong legs that are firmly embedded underground. The legs connect to a torso.
Absolute monster of a creature.
The creature itself is made of hundreds of thousands of meaty strands, tightly woven together to form the structure. These strands end at the neck, fusing into a solid mass of hardened flesh in the shape of an upside-down triangle, with a hole in its center. On each side of the monolith where arms would be, there are dozens of long, rope-like appendages. These reach just barely to the ground. At the creature's feet, the strands go deep into the earth and extend horizontally a decent distance away. What the monoliths do is simply stand and do nothing. The only activity documented that the monoliths have done was in...
Oh, that's so loud.
During this period, they were extremely aggressive. When the group of... were making their way to the city.
Classified.
Roared a deep bellow and swung its appendages at the team, completely wiping them out. When military vehicles were dispatched, once they got close enough top the monolith, it roared another call, this time releasing an EMP blast, completely knocking the vehicles out in the vicinity. Finally, long-distance rockets were fired and struck the creature.
Footage.
Although damaged, it regenerated at great speed and resumed its stance unscathed. Eventually, the area has been fenced off and is now restricted to all. Ever since, the monolith stands silently, now only a grand spectacle of awe and mystery, only adding more questions to these meat beings. And finally, the last creature...
They are very interesting, especially in this video, because they're not really explained all that much. Like, all we really know about them at this point is that they are very tall creatures who stand around and don't do anything. Like, they don't really pose a threat, other than, obviously, that one quote-unquote classified situation that was, like, bleeped out many times. We don't know much about them actually doing anything.
Creature on this list
But they are seemingly protecting the location in which we do not know about.
is
Man, let me read. Great, it's a bit crushed. Something, something, something. Who is this creature? Why are they here? Are they dangerous? In reference to the prince, I assume. As thought was the... What if the creature could use its magic to help them? If it may grow food or heal sickness. They continue to argue about the prince and his magic. By the end, the majority of the critters that the prince was dangerous. Yeah, that the prince was dangerous, or decided that the prince was dangerous and should not be meddled with. So pretty much, the prince that they found, they argued whether they should attempt to wake him up in case that he could give them good treatment, but they all in all decided against it.
the singularity is an orb comprised of a dark-colored mineral with hints of luminous colors within its core. The singularity is estimated to be 1 meter in diameter. The orb has several unique qualities that are not well understood. The singularity typically can be found suspended in air by an unseen force. There are also a variety of reading that have been documented coming from the orb itself. Various things like magnetic fields, energy signatures, and other pattern-like signals released by the singularity. The population of these creatures is unknown. Almost all info about the singularity is hidden or confiscated by officials. We were only able to receive one classified document about the singularity being held by... marvelous and majestic world that exists
Singularity, everyone. Quite the robust information known.
today. It's as extraordinary to have such strange and mysterious beings appear all around us. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration.
Thank you,
and
National
discovery
Living Meat
of the
Research.
lives of these living meat creatures.
More to come. I believe there's nothing else. Yep. So there is our very first episode, chat. And yeah, so that's our very first episode out of the way, our main one. Hope you enjoyed. If for the one viewer, I suppose, just let me know what you think of it. I really enjoy this episode. It really set the gold standard for how, like, it really set itself apart from all other stuff like it in terms of, like, the, what is it called? In terms of, like, the like documentary style of analog horror, where it explains things in universe with like a spooky tape, spooky tape, but like it's the spooky tape, right? And I really like how in the Living Meat Research Facility thing, it actually explains it in such an interesting way by giving you not only all of the information, like all like super specific information about it to give us a better understanding of how it works, but then also, you know, being able to lace actual horror and unsettling elements to it in there, like weaves it perfectly and has both going on and neither takes away from the other. It's very nice. I really enjoy it. 1 second, chat, right before I'm going to continue in a moment. Just need to respond to something real fast, chat. One moment. Let me see. Alright, sorry chat for holding you up. So man, Discord cracks me up sometimes. Okay, perfect. Now we can get on to the next episode, chat. From now on, it's going to be a lot shorter. The episodes that we watch compared to the monster of 31 minutes. Let me actually see what we got. Alright, this is season 2 stuff. We don't have to worry about that. So, we might not do everything tonight, chat, because, you know, I've got a life. But we'll see. Next up, we have Cook at Home Kitchen Cheese Crawl Pan Cook-Along. Yeah, can't speak.
This could be the greatest discovery of the age.
Baby. Let this feeling in.
Have any information of the whereabouts of...
Ooh.
We make...
Be making a dish that has recently gained a fair amount of popularity. Today's dish will be a cheesy crawl penne.
Crawl penne. We're gonna learn how to cook some crawl.
To start off, these will be the ingredients you will need. 3 cups of penne pasta. Roughly 3 cups worth of fresh crawl. Try to get a variety of sizes when you buy yours, or when you harvest them yourself. 1 cup of cheese. Half a cup of green onion. 1 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of Cajun spice. 2 tablespoons of parsley. 1 tablespoon of dill. 1 tablespoon of garlic.
Alright.
A pinch of pepper.
Pinch of pepper.
And finally, the most crucial ingredient. Nutrier Company's newly released Flavor Enhancer.
The Flavor Enhancer.
To bring out the richness of flavors within each and every meal. First, get a
I love this so
medium-sized
much.
pot and fill half of it with water.
Man, have you ever... This happens a lot. The creator... he doesn't handle his utensils well. You can see, like, look at this. Look how much water spills out. I'll point it out when we get to the points. It's just really funny.
Add a pinch of salt, which is used to help the pot come to a boil faster and help flavor the pasta. Then, set aside to boil. Grab your crawl and a sharp knife. Begin to cut the meat into a rough mince.
He's cutting the meat. By the way, I do really like the prop meat. I think it's really cool. And really having a hard time cutting that, aren't we?
Crawl is soft on the outside, but the interior has a surprising sturdiness.
Man, that's
Then,
super
gather the
messy.
meat and set aside.
I hate all of these, like, after effect, like the sound effects that are artificially added in of just like the mushiness.
Mince the green onion into rough
I
segments.
didn't even clean the board. It has all that crawl juice on it. Ugh.
Take this mince and set aside as well. Next, grab your skillet and preheat with along some oil.
The cook and the crawl.
Take your minced crawl and spread it evenly across the skillet. Stir occasionally until crisp and brown. As your water reaches a boil, add...
Okay, I love this series. This is really funny though. The steam effect, because you put a steam effect over it, it cuts off, like visibly cuts off, like right there.
Penne and stir.
Like you could see it. The steam effect, like overlaid, cuts off right at like the cusp right here. So there's a part of the bowl that isn't steamed. It's
Occasionally. Cook until soft. At this time, your crawl will be brown and crisp. Add your minced green onion and then the spices. Mix well. Once your pasta is finished cooking, strain it.
He's really shaking it.
Lay your cooked penne evenly into your dish.
Very evenly? Okay.
Then add the crawl topping.
Oof, tasty. Yummers.
Sprinkle a generous amount of cheese along the still warm crawl for it to melt. At this point, finish preparing the dish with your flavor enhancer, but allow your dish to cool to a temperature
Oof,
below
that music is
60
intense.
degrees Celsius, or else the enhancer will not work.
Okay, there we go. Back to normal.
And now, you may serve and enjoy.
Yay! Oh, ow, ears. Oh, eyes. Eyes, ears, well, ears and eyes. Okay. A red triangle with a circle, and it says, "Who are they?" on the sticky note. Oh, of course you do it. There we go. There we go. Easy one to read. Although the other critters ignored the rest of their fellow kinds instead they secretly visited the slumbering visitor. They snuck what little food they had very carefully fed and carefully fed it to the prince, greatly hastening their recovery. Interesting. Now, I really enjoy this for one big reason. I really enjoy this one. It's a little less, like, it's a little lower quality than the previous. But one thing I really like about this video in particular, compared to, like, in reference to the series, is in the Vita Carnis universe, it's very, everyone knows about the crawl and, like, all of the crawls, like, the crawl root spawn. And, like, Vita Carnis, like, creatures as a whole. Like, everyone knows about it. And so they have to adapt their lifestyle around it. That's just how humans and society works. So this really paints a picture of how there's more videos like this. I really paint this picture well, but I just really enjoy them being able to show you how society is accepting these creatures and like the Vita Carnis. It's and this being one of the ways is actually admittedly pretty funny. All right, next, guide to owning a pet trimming.
Many people get pets for
We get to see a pet trimming, chat. Pet trimming.
Many people get pets for companionship.
That is true. They do
form
that.
bonds and grow relationships with these animals, even to the point of them being considered a part of the family.
I own
Most
a dog.
people get
I can
dogs or cats,
confirm.
But maybe you want something more interesting. Then you may want to get yourself a trimming. These lumps of
Trimming.
meat have grown a reputation to be a loving companion for
Oh,
many
look at the
people in
little
recent
guy.
times.
Look at that little
Although
trimming.
most people may not.
Again, with the practical effects. This is a practical effects trimming. I love him. Look at him. He looks so sad, but he's so cute. He's like oddly cute. I shouldn't be thinking this creature is cute. It's like fleshy and disgusting, but it's just something about it has a
know the
charm.
proper ways to
Look
care
at
for them.
him.
Today, we will be showing you how you can care for your pet trimming. Taking care of a trimming is fairly easy, but this is no reason to slack off. They are living things and do require maintenance. The first thing to keep in mind when keeping a trimming is the temperature of your home.
That is true.
While trimmings are resilient to both high and low conditions, you want to keep your base temperature near room temp, maybe slightly cooler. That being said, trimmings prefer warmer areas to nest. A simple setup you may use is a box with some blankets on the inside. Make sure there is enough for your trimming to cover itself. And now, you have a
Oh,
comfy
he's
bed for your buddy.
snuggly. He's just snuggling in there.
Next, you want to give
I
your
love
trimming
him.
the best diet possible.
That is good. He needs a good diet.
Trimmings are not
Feed
picky
him well.
eaters and will eat anything you give them. To keep your trimming healthy and strong, a diet of dry cat or dog food
trimming
that is
named
high in
Angelica.
protein, provided 2 times a day, is best. As a treat, you may give your trimming any scraps of your food. Things like apple cores, banana peels, or eggshells are a perfect snack. A thing to remember
They do love
is
that.
trimmings are nocturnal and make plenty of noise. To prevent you from having sleepless nights, try to give your trimmings first meal in the late morning or afternoon. This helps them be active during these times instead. Another thing to consider if you want a pet trimming is where they will be living. Your home should have enough space for your trimming to roam around, as well as access to the outdoors, like a backyard.
Oh,
If not,
it's eating the
be sure to
grass.
take your trimmings on regular walks. This gives your trimming the exercise
Yay!
as well as allowing them to meet other trimmings. Trimmings are a
They're
social creature
interacting.
and need to interact with others of their kind, like how they do in the wild.
Yeah. I love
When
it so
comes
much.
to entertainment, trimmings are not the most active and aren't the best at fetch or tug of war.
It does not
But here
care.
are other ways to keep your trimming entertained. Some toys that trimmings like are little items they can push, around, pull, or carry. Trimmings also enjoy things that you enjoy as well, like watching the television or listening to the radio. They love seeing and listening to all the funny things coming from the devices.
So funny. Oh, my ears.
After a long day, your trimming might be dirty and need a wash. To clean them, start your bath with a gentle warm water, mixed with a bit of hand or body wash.
Mm-hmm.
Gently scrub the trimming's feet, armpits,
Scrub that little
belly,
goober.
and neck fold. Remember to be careful around their face, and avoid getting soap in their eyes, nose, and mouth. Gently pat dry with a towel when done. Now your buddy is all clean.
Boop. Gotta boop the snoot. It's important.
And lastly, as said before, trimmings are social creatures, so be sure to give them plenty of affection.
They need that.
They love receiving pats, scratches, and pets. They also love to sit with you and cuddle. Since they communicate with each other in the wild, it is best to replicate this behavior with them as well. Simply talking to them is plenty enough. You can
Yeah.
talk about your day,
Little
if
guy.
anything interesting happened at work, if you are working on any new recipes, or talk about the weather. Trimmings are very good listeners and love to be involved.
So involved.
With all of these in mind, you are now well equipped to have a trimming become a part of the family. Do things right, and you will have a companion for a long while.
Yeah. Pretty long lifespan. Oh. Pen writing down, pen writing down. Oh. Ugh. I gotta read that? Okay. Oh, I don't even want to attempt it. Okay, the gist is pretty much the prince woke up. Y'all know. The prince woke up. That is what... Why do we have hands? See, that's pretty much... I don't have to explain it. Alright, that was episode 3. Now, I also really enjoy episode 3 a lot. As I mentioned earlier, with the previous one... Actually, let me open this. As I mentioned with the previous one, the previous episode, I'm really enjoying... The thing I enjoy about Vita Carnis is that it shows how humans themselves have adapted to these, like, new foreign creatures that were introduced, like, not even, like, 60 years ago. I actually don't know when this series takes place, or specifically, but, you know, in, like, the 60s and 70s is, like... Actually, wait, no, I think even earlier. I haven't brushed up. That doesn't matter. But how they're treating them, and then it give the cook at home video and the guide to owning a pet trimming both give this this perspective that we need, and I really appreciate that in terms of, like, the world building, because, like, the world building right now is really solid. We know a lot about the creatures themselves and, like, how they function, like in the ecosystem, and we have a few isolated instances, if I can pronounce words correctly, of how society, like human society, is adapting to them and integrating them into our ecosystem. It is just so fascinating to me, and I really enjoy it from what we've seen. Now, before we continue, chat, I do have to use the restroom real fast, so I will be right back. I'll put the BRB screen on. All right. I shall be right back, chat. 1 minute. Alright, I am back. Hello again, chat. I am back. We can continue. So, let me... Whoops. Let me pause this. Okay, perfect. Now we have more Vita Carnis chat. Let us continue. Our next episode we have to watch. Another shorty. Meat snake specimen. Let's see. Archived footage. I believe this is a more spoopy one, so I'm going to turn the volume down. At least so my ears don't get pierced. Okay, put the tape in. Give him. Okay, there we go. Warning: the unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or viewing of the following footage is strictly prohibited. Infringement of these instructions lead to severe penalties enforced by the federal law. Discard this tape immediately.
In the year of 1945, with the war finally ended, the cleanup process had started. During routine sweep of an underground
what a drawing.
made a grotesque discovery. Found completely filling the tunnel was a meaty wall, and in the center of the mass was an opening with several skulls surrounding it. Closer inspection of the blockage revealed that the mass was actually an extremely engorged meat snake. Its impeccable size had blocked off the entirety of the tunnel's path. There was many strange things with this creature. First was the coloration.
I want to talk. It's going to bring this up, but remember how with meat snakes, whenever they consume something, they import the skull into themselves. Well, this meat snake has consumed so many of these animals, as you can see, that instead of having it's like a singular one poking out, it's so big that it uses the skulls instead of as its own skull as teeth instead. So instead of it being like its head, it's as its teeth. Really just such a cool detail. It looks so nice.
Typical meat snake's color is bright reds and light browns. This particular meat snake was a very deep maroon. Another strange thing about it was
now it's mentioning it.
This creature barely moved. Meat snakes are normally sluggish and encumbersome, but the specimen discovered seemed to lack even basic motor functions. Its behavior was that of a plant's. Stationary, with only minor movements within. One would assume it was dead. The reason the meat snake may act this way may be because it was completely lodged in place and minimized movements to conserve energy. But how would it have gotten this deep into the tunnel in the first place? And by the looks of weathering, it had been in there for quite some time. So how did it get so large? The answer was discovered by a different cleaning crew, who found the other end of the tunnel. They followed it until it met with the other end of the meat snake. Alongside it was a huge pile of
And there it is. Yeah, so the one mentioned earlier in the newspaper clippings, the one that had consumed multiple corpses, this is that meat snake. That's why it is that big.
Snake's skin also displayed great amounts of resilience. It took several days of cutting to even obtain a sample. Here, you can see the clear difference between this meat snake specimen versus a normal meat snake's membrane.
It's just so much darker.
Showed that it had great immunity to damage. It tolerated extreme freezing temperatures, extreme heat temperatures, and even high doses of radiation. It is a wonder how such durability can occur in an organic creature. Another strange phenomenon is the smell off the skin. Normally, it would have a sour smell of rotting flesh. But the specimen displayed a rather pleasant smell, like that of cooking scrambled eggs. Meat snake was later discovered to be missing by unknown survivors.
By the way, oh gosh, we'll get into that in a second. This detail of it smelling rather pleasant is so interesting because of how many of the corpses that it's consumed. Usually you'd think it would just be unbelievably repulsive in terms of its smell, but it's not. It has a pleasant smell. It's very interesting. Oh, and then we have spooky.
Meat snake was later discovered to be missing by unknown survivors.
So we have this. Now this is very interesting. Let's see if I can pause on it. This. Okay. So obviously you can, like, a very general or military-esque outfit from this unknown man. One thing that's interesting about this, though, look at his like badge right here. I don't know what it's called, but you can see there's a triangle right there. We've seen in a couple other of the clips a red triangle, and it's kind of been littered across. From what we've seen, it's been littered across all of the episodes. So this clearly has some semblance in reference to the Vita Carnis. So it's like kind of our job to unfold what that is.
How the meat snake grew in size was discovered to be.
And that's it. And yeah, there's our please be easy to read. Thank Lord. One of the critters built up the courage to meet the now awake stranger. They crawled to the prince's side and extended their hand in friendship. The prince reached back, and together they had formed the bond that will change their fate. Interesting episode. Now, let's see. Given the size, I'm trying to debate how long I want this to go. Hi, Sydney Kester. Welcome to the stream. You're our third chatter of the evening. Well, technically second, but you know, it's nice to have someone here. Welcome to the stream. We're actually about to watch a very fun one. Okay, now that one was very interesting. Now, chat. This is the Mimic Defense Instruction Tape. I will say, there is a large portion of this I'm going to skip over because this is one of my only complaints is from this episode is that it adds unnecessary padding and length to the episode. This episode would have been much shorter if, you know, they shortened it down. There's just some of it's unnecessary padding that was not necessary, but you'll see in a moment. Cindy Kester says, "Boo! I'm just kidding. I'm not a ghost." I certainly hope you are not a ghost. That would be horrifying. The mimic. All my ears. Okay. It's been 1 second. Okay, we're gonna turn the volume down for this episode. Okay, you can stop, please. Okay, there we go.
Time of this video's release,
1986.
Facing a concerning increase of missing persons and fatalities on a global scale. The reason for this is because we are under attack. We have discovered that there has been a significant growth of mimic populations, which is threatening public safety.
That is a problem.
National leaders have released this instructional recording to teach
Canada.
you on how to defend yourself. Here is what you need to know about the threat. Mimics are humanoid, intelligent predators that are highly adaptive and feed solely on human prey.
Yep, that's what
They
they do.
On people by watching their daily lives and pick to hunt people when they are most vulnerable. The most common times a mimic will attack is when you are asleep, that walking alone, or in a cornered position. Mimics are cautious and calculative creatures, taking precautions to ensure a successful hunt. They utilize various tactics to capture a person by surprise.
I love the jumping surprised silhouette.
Itself inside of furniture to blend into its environment.
I believe it shows images. Yeah, it does. Okay, so here are a bunch of instances of a mimic hiding in furniture to get ready to strike its prey. This is also with practical effects. This is no CGI. This isn't even painting either. These are all practical effects done, and I really enjoy them. I really enjoy how all of these look. They're just so good.
Can hide inside our
and very scary looking.
Wardrobes, ottomans, and other places a mimic can comfortably wait. Mimics are able to contort their body in ways that allow them to fit inside smaller places. They also use it to expand their body, making
What a
themselves
creepy
appear larger
little,
for intimidation.
scary man.
Another method mimics
Oh,
use to blend in is their ability
that's
to
scary,
glow
lol.
when
Yeah,
they wear clothing.
the way the mimic is made or like depicted by the creator in this series is it's very unsettling at times.
Mimics
I
put on
really
layers
enjoy
of
it.
shirts, pants, and jackets to hide their bright red skin and blend into densely populated areas. In very
Spoopy.
rare cases, mimics can develop and grow to look very similar to human beings.
They
Pairing
can.
this with clothing, it can be very hard to tell the difference between a mimic and a person right away. If you are unsure if a person is a mimic, look out for key features that may reveal their true face.
All right, chat. Do any of these look like mimics? I think it's very hard, like, to tell if a human is a mimic. But do any of these look like mimics? Let me know in chat, because like, I've tried to tell the difference. I can't tell the difference between a human and a mimic through these images. It's very hard. So try your best, chat. If any of you notice key differences, let me know. Let me know.
Look for abnormal facial features,
Mm-hmm.
like large, bulbous eyes, flat noses, wide mouths in an uncanny smile, and clammy skin. Also pay attention to other exposed body parts like hands. Mimic people will have long fingers with no fingernails.
Oof.
If you are unable to see their face or hand.
Hold on, I'm gonna scrub this next section. So there's just a really loud part. I think they're humans because look at those smiles. Yeah, they're just really. They had a really good day. That's like, it's like you can't call them mimics. They're just having a good day.
Hands. Watch their walking pattern. Mimics' legs are long and hunched. Their walking will be unusual and irregular. Here is what you do if you are met with a mimic.
Okay, this is very important, chat. We're gonna watch this, and then I'm gonna bring it back to the first tape of the mimic we saw to really show you the difference.
If it stands before you, do not panic.
Okay.
Stand your ground and try to appear larger.
Mm-hmm.
Wave your hands and make plenty of noise.
Okay.
Maintain eye contact. A mimic will hesitate to attack a potential threat. If you are armed with a weapon, aim for the head or legs. These are the best areas to hit to immobilize the threat. Fight back and don't let it get a hold on you. If you find a mimic that hasn't discovered you yet, stay out of sight. Call the authorities and alert them of your location. Stay where you are to avoid startling the mimic.
So mimics are just bears? Yeah, in the case of like standing large and like making noise and like trying to seem more threatening than you actually are. Yeah.
If the mimic gives chase.
Oh. I love how it just slides. Run.
Stay where you are to avoid startling
So
the
good.
mimic. If the mimic gives chase, run. Try to get somewhere out of sight and hide. Do not leave the area. Officials will need to locate you to help. Stay low and stay quiet. With the information you have learned, use it well and stay safe.
Okay, so now that you've heard that, I want to take a detour to the mimic video that we watched earlier, or at least that I watched earlier. I don't know how many of you were actually here the first time. Well, let's go here. All right. Let me life cycle. No, that's the morphs. Okay, that's the killing. Here's the tactics.
Although, in the case that a human is awake, a mimic will use a variety of sounds to either lure or startle prey.
Still
into
gets me
cornering
every single time.
themselves. Once a human is in place, it will swiftly attack and kill the helpless target.
Oh, that's unimportant. We're did not mean to go to that. Trying to find the strategy part of it. There's the strategy part.
Instructions on how to be able to fend for yourself in a mimic encounter.
Detours. We do love detours, Sydney Castor. I do just want to show this because it really, there's an important part of this because they talked about how to deal with a mimic previously.
Here are the instructions.
Here are the instructions, chat.
1. Avoid going out alone if your location is known to have mimics, or there have been mimic sightings. 2.
Okay.
If you encounter a stationary mimic, seemingly unfazed by your presence, quietly leave the location and alert your local authorities. 3. If pursued by a mimic, get yourself into a position where you are able to flee. Mimics will rarely attack if a person has a clear escape route.
Okay.
4. In the event that you have been cornered by a mimic,
Okay.
roll into the fetal position, protecting your neck, face, and vital organs from attack. Make as much noise as you can to alert any other people. 5. If you have a weapon, do not use it.
Okay.
A mimic is fairly resilient, and any strikes or shots on a mimic is not effective enough to bring it down in time. Instead, use it as a barrier between you and the mimic to block any attacks. 6. In a situation where a mimic...
Okay, yeah, then same. Okay, so as you noticed, very different tactics. So we have this one. Then we have this one. So, that's unimportant. Seems very important to me. It is very important. I'll try. But yeah. So we have this one, the original, the Living Meat Research Society, or documentary, I mean. The original one we saw that covered mimics and how to deal with them. They said to get in the fetal position and protect yourself while making loud noise in like a seemingly like cradle kind of way to protect your vital organs. This one, the Mimic Defense Instructional Tape, I think put out by the Canadian government, I think is what it said, told you specifically to stand up, appear large, and like stand tall, wave your hands, make eye contact, and loud noise similar to this to seem more threatening. These are two very different approaches. Obviously, these are completely separate things. Now, the thing that's like really questions this is which one to trust. I mean, I personally trust this one. This one is obviously definitely the better one. But the Living Meat Research documentary, it makes you wonder if they're telling you wrong information on purpose. So just keep that in mind, chat. Now let us continue. No more detour. Okay, blue. Alright, here. Evidence tape, Christopher and Janice case 1983. Observe footage for confidential information. Completed. Discard and destroy all copies of this tape immediately. It is misspelled. I'm going to continue now.
Got it. Let's see. Yep, it's working.
Sounds like my boss giving me one advice and the pure opposite. Yeah, pretty much. It was a joke. I love my job. Yeah, no, I figured it was a joke. But yeah, pretty much. One of them just like, okay, but what if I lied to you? Just let me completely lie to you. Oh, goodness.
One sec. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
I thought you only had 30 minutes of tape on that.
I know, but just gotta see how it works. Like,
Yeah, well,
I never got to use one of these. It's too bad. You're the only person who can film with me, so you're gonna have to put up with it.
Fine.
Screw you. Screw you.
Screw you.
What a good relationship.
There we go. Hello.
Cold.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. You got some light now.
Okay. You've seen enough for this for now. They'll explore pretty much like walking to a certain location. I'm going to explain just so I can skip forward, not just because nothing substantial is said during this time that requires this length of time. Pretty much, they have a school project that they're working on that they need to take pictures for, and they decided to go out at night. And they're walking to this location, and they must take pictures in order, like, for their paper or assignment, whatever it is for school. That's what they're there for. It does drag on a while. One of my few complaints about the series. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit just so we can actually get to the part that, you know, matters. There we go.
This way. I think this way. Yo, look at this. I didn't see this on my way over here last time. It's cool. Like, we could get a shot of this in, like, atmosphere, you know?
It just looks like tetanus to me.
One sec, let me get a good lighting on that. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. Hey, look, there's, like, old stuff here as well. Anyways.
Yeah, I didn't see this last time. Why have you been there before? This is stressing me out. Yeah, this is pretty. I think to be honest, this entire opening section is just for tension purposes. But you know, I'm on a schedule. The tension's very good, though, I will say.
We're on the flat part now.
Oh, it's about to get good.
Yeah, we're close. Trailer should be right up ahead.
Yeah, they're coming up to their school photo shoot.
This is where everyone was. There's no one here now, though. Not a single building in sight. Except, like, way over there. But there's no one here. It's the strangest thing. This is the spot. Right here. Yeah. This thing. Okay. So you take the camera and the light. Point at me, but don't point at my eyes, please. Make sure.
Then go over the light. What are you doing? This is great. Truly smart. I mean, do you really expect teens in any horror-related thing to be smart?
Alright, give me a second.
Okay, confidential. This is a police tape after all. Don't worry. This is nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Confidential. Confidential.
His father that he came home to is found dead. Grisly scene lies before him. Police called.
Oh, I do remember what they were there for. I do want to explain this real fast. So, they're doing a school project on, specifically, I believe, a disappearance of a person in this area. Yeah, which, by the way, definitely adds to the paranoia of why they're there. So, they're there to give, like, I guess, awareness in their school project of this person who went missing in this area to a quote-unquote grizzly bear.
Strange thing though, they immediately closed off everything.
At least I think that's how it goes. It's been a while since I've seen this. But something along those lines.
For some reason, the police were acting very weird, trying to keep everyone away and telling little information. And when the information was released to the public, they say it was a suicide. Although, the trailer and most people living nearby
No, it wasn't a grizzly bear. It was a suicide. That's what they said. Okay. Apologies.
Police say it was a suicide, but witnesses that did catch an eye of what happened say the scene was much too grisly to be that. But police haven't come out about anything yet. That's why I'm here to answer what truly happened. And that's it for now. You said grizzly way too much. What?
Oh, no, it did involve a grizzly in some capacity. Yeah.
Too much? Yeah. Okay, should I retry? Sure. Okay. Pause. That one turned out alright, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, why is it rolling? Did you catch that? Oh, 30 minutes to film and yet screwed. I needed someone to film. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, they're going home, chat. They got their footage. It's going well.
Yeah, 'cause like back there was the perfect time for a serial killer to just jump out and grab us, you know? Cut it out. Scary enough as is. Babe?
Oh,
Chris? Where are you?
Chris?
Chris! Come on! This isn't funny!
Oh, Chris.
Chris! I just want to go home, come on! Fine, I guess I'm going home without you. I'm cold, tired, and hungry. If you want to stay out here and play games, you can.
Wonder where Chris went. Hey, chat. He just took an alternate way home. He's being silly. And I really forgot how much this drags. Goodness gracious, okay. Really taking the long route. Okay, not long.
Chris? What are you doing? Because this isn't funny.
Oh. Oh, there's the creature. There's the mimic. Are they taking the long route, or do you have a short attention span? Could be both. Oh, I hear it. Oh. Oh, there it is. Oh. And dead. Ah, it was so fast. Hold on. There's the page. It was somewhere in there. The critters led the prince out of the cave to the top of the hill. something had laid under or water and shaved them the forest. And yeah, and then they pretty much explained to him like the hardship thing, because they need help. All right, get the gist. Hey, so I don't like that. Yeah, it's not supposed to be settling. But yeah, that was the episode. Mimic. Yeah, so then this one actively shows the mimics portion of how it's integrated into society. Could be cut down in sections. I had to skip like a good chunk of the episode for time's sake. But yeah, it was a good one. Let me see. Actually, how should I do this? Actually, chat. Let me see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of season 1 left. We've gone through about like 5 here. Actually, chat, I do think I'm gonna call it for the night. Chat. Since we're gonna do a lot more of these, and more frequently. I'm going to obviously wrap, like, we're gonna circle back, chat. So for now, we'll leave it at that. Just a simple short stream. All right, let me change to the chatting screen again. Perfect. Let me get the music. But yeah, that was Vita Carnis. Actually. Thank you, Sydney Kester. But yeah, so it was a fun stream. Obviously didn't finish it because I decided to call it short. But yeah, we'll definitely pick up the rest. Probably I'm not sure when I'll do it. No, I just got here. I apologize. But yeah, we will definitely finish the rest of it at some point. And also, since season 2 is actually coming out actively recently, we will probably do those as a bundle. We'll do season 1, the end of season 1 and season 2 as one stream at some point, because like, why not? So yeah, that was Vita Carnis. I'm not sure what I'll do for my next one of these analog horror watch parties, because I'm not sure when I'm gonna finish up Vita Carnis. But yeah, had a great time. Thank you for the people in chat. Thank you, Cindy Kester. You were like literally the only chatter of this stream. Oh, but yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.